Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, the power behind this program, and convenient office locations for you: Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. And Morehead City is where Cassandra Nicholas, also an attorney at Whitaker and Hamer, is joining us as we continue our legalese discussion. If you have any situation you're facing, you've got some questions, we have a number for you, and you can get some answers. Here it is, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And you can always shoot us a question at the show. Questions at theoutlawlawyer.com. We'll answer those on a future program. So, gentlemen, this is the next question. How do attorneys get paid?
Well, this really confuses folks. So, at Whitaker and Hamer, we're a firm that does several we practice several different areas of law. We have different attorneys who kind of spend their time doing different things. So we've got our litigation folks, we've got transactional folks, real estate folks, personal injury folks, family law folks. We have a bunch of different practice areas by design. We have a lot of clients, we're a statewide law firm. There's not a ton of those in North Carolina who can kind of cover the entire state of North Carolina. And we can, not on everything, but on a lot of things. And so when people call in, if they've used us a couple of times for different areas, they may have some questions. But I thought we would do this. And we've talked about it before in a different context, but it's been a while. So basically different attorneys charge different ways. And so I try to think of most areas where people who aren't practicing attorneys, right? When would most people need an attorney? And I think the thing that comes up most for folks is probably, I would say estate planning, right? Everybody, Yeah. So, and most attorneys that, there's three types of fees, right? So if you have a ticket, right? If you get like a speeding ticket, or you're charged with a crime, or you're going in to deal with an attorney for maybe estate planning, like a lot of those things are done by basically flat fee, right? So if you get a ticket in this county, an attorney would charge you blank amount of dollars, basically. And if for some reason it became overly complex, they probably have a system to charge you maybe a little bit more. But those are services, and there's some I'm probably not naming, right? But there's a lot of services where an attorney or a law firm is just going to have a flat fee, and they'll say, hey, we'll do that for you. You need us. We'll charge $100. I don't know what, $100. We'll charge you $100 for that, right?
And I think you're going to see that normally in the cases where it's a more of a transactional type of thing, something that the attorney understands the amount of time it's going to take. They've done it before. They've kind of reduced it to a science in terms of, I know how much time I'm going to spend on this matter, so I can give you this flat fee calculation because I know it's going to be a fair, arguably fair, depending on who the attorney is, right? Price for the service that I'm providing to you. So again, it's something that you do see. And like you said, I think you covered most of the practice areas that you're generally going to see that flat fee associated with.
Yeah, so you've got kind of this flat fee. So you might call our office because we handle both of those areas, right? And tell us what you need and be like, all right, we'll be happy to do that for you. This is what we charge, right? And some attorneys may charge more, some may charge less. Attorneys kind of have a broad discretion on what to charge. They figure out, they calculate what their time's worth. Every attorney has different overhead, right? So you definitely, something you can probably shop around for depending on the confidence you have in the attorney that you're talking to, right? So that's a flat fee. And so you may call us for that and we'll say flat fee. Then you'll call us for something else. And we're like, well, we'll take that on a contingency, right? So a contingency fee is usually associated with injury law, right? So a lot of the attorneys that advertise on TV, advertise on the radio, a lot of those are folks who handle what we call personal injury from car accidents, right? Slip and falls, workers' comp, things like that. So this injury law area, it's pretty common for attorneys to not charge you anything. Those are the attorneys that say, hey, if you don't win money, we don't get money, right? If you don't get paid, we don't get paid. That's a contingency fee where they say, all right, we believe in your case, we'll take your case, and we're going to work on it for free. But we're going to take whatever it is, 25%, 35%, 40%. We're going to take a certain percentage of your recovery, right? So if you recover $100,000 and that attorney agreed to take 33%, they're going to get 33 $333,000 as their fee, right? So you're not coming out of pocket up front, which is important to a lot of folks, but the attorney is going to get paid a percentage of your recovery. And so that's contingency law. And that seems like a very popular form of payment because on TV, most of the commercials are injury attorneys, and that's how most injury attorneys get paid.
Yeah, I'd say that's the vast majority of those cases. And, seems far better, right, than paying out of pocket, obviously, especially up front. And it's the standard of practice in that area, and it makes a lot of sense because you don't have to come out of pocket. Your attorney doesn't recover unless you recover. But at the same time, be cognizant it is generally going to be a decent percentage of whatever that recovery is. So at some point, there's going to be a payoff coming to that attorney for that amount. But again, you're a lot of times you're talking about substantial amounts of work being done with on the attorney's point, a risk of never recovering a dollar. And
because of that, the attorneys that are taking those types of contingency cases also use their discretion a lot more up front about which cases they're actually taking. So unless you have a very strong case, contingency an attorney may not take your case on contingency.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So an attorney, you're kind of a partner with an attorney on your injury matter, right? If they've taken it on a contingency, that means they think your case has value, right? They think you're going to recover. Your chances of recovering are better than not recovering. And usually there's some damage there, right? So you've suffered an injury, probably of a serious nature, and the attorney sees value. An attorney is not going to work for free on a case that they don't believe in, right? It's so yeah, you may have a case that's good, but maybe the value of it, luckily you weren't injured that much in the car accident, and maybe there wasn't a lot of property damage. But a injury attorney is probably not going to see a lot of value in that case because your recovery is based on your damages. So certainly if you have a serious car accident, you have a serious injury, you have a big workers' comp claim, attorneys are going to want to work with you on those on a contingency basis. But if you're an offender bender and the insurance company is just doing you wrong on property damage, that's something that an attorney's not going to take on contingency. But I think a lot of clients who don't deal with attorneys every day kind of think everything, like every attorney works on everything as a contingency. I see that a time or two, especially in this kind of next set. So almost any other issue is going to require some sort of consultation with an attorney, right? If you're thinking about getting divorced or you've got child custody or other family law issues, that's just usually going to require you paying an attorney to consult on what needs to be done. What are the next steps? A lot of business laws like that, right? If you get sued for something, if somebody's suing you for something, a lot of times you're just going to have to go to the attorney, an attorney who's got experience in that area, and they're going to charge you, who knows, upwards of, I've seen $500 an hour. I've seen a lot less, right? But depending on the attorney and their knowledge, they're going to charge you a consultation fee to sit down with them and kind of ask you questions, figure out what's going on, and give you their recommendations. And then you can hire them usually on an hourly basis, right? So that usually would be a retainer fee, right? So you pay a consult, you sit down with an attorney, you like that attorney's advice on a litigation matter or a family law matter or a business law matter. And that attorney will say, okay, well, I'll take $1,000 as a retainer fee and I'll bill you as I work on it, right? So a retainer fee goes into our trust account. There's a lot of rules on how attorneys have to manage their trust account that Mr. Murdoch didn't follow. But that money sits there. That's your money. It just sits there. And as we do work, usually on a monthly basis, we'll bill hourly for the work that we did or paralegals did or things like that. Usually we can give you a ballpark on what we think the total cost is going to be. But the point being, contingency arrangements only account for a small area of practice, and I would say mostly injury law.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So that's the biggest question. A lot of times people will want to consult with us about something that we would never take on a contingency basis. They're told that there's going to be a consult fee of some kind, and I think that confuses some folks. So I thought it merited a couple of minutes here on the show to just talk about that. And of course, if you ever have any questions, you're never charged anything to just call us or shoot us an email or let us know what's going on. We're very transparent. That's always been our thing here at the firm, Whitaker and Hamer. We're never going to charge you without telling you ahead of time that something is going to cost money and how much it's going to cost. We don't want you surprised by any of that. So that's a quick lesson on how attorneys get paid.
The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, where you can find them. Offices conveniently located: Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. They are the managing partners of the firm, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. And joining us from that Morehead City office is Cassandra Nicholas. If you are looking at a legal situation and you've got questions, well, we've got an opportunity for you. Call this number, 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Again, there's no charge. You can email your questions to questions@theoutlawlawyer.com and get some answers there as well. But if you call that number, 800-659-1186, remember to leave your name, contact information, briefly what that call is about. We're back on the other side. We'll wrap this one up.